He bought that mic, and now he's got a podcast show.
I make a joke that, I went from military to property management. I didn't have to transition into civilian life because it still sucks.
Is it the same level of suck?
I'm not getting shot at as much.
Not as much. I mean, occasionally.
Not as much.
Not as much.
Although that mutual friend, if we're thinking about the same person, almost got me shot.
Yeah.
That was sketch.
I almost got you shot as well.
Oh, yes, you did. We'll get to that one.
Let's tell both those stories. So
we'll get to that.
I bought a house in a little town called Sumter, South Carolina. Remember? It's right after you and I met. We hadn't known each other very long. And it was a foreclosure. And in my experience of foreclosures in the past, when we take possession of the home, there's nobody living there because they've been removed by the court, right? It's a foreclosure. You haven't paid your mortgage. You don't live here anymore. So my construction crew shows up to clean out the house, and there are people living there. And so Rob comes to my rescue, and I'll let you pick it up from there.
So I sent notice to her, notice of non-renewal, and like, you got to get out, because the courts weren't doing anything about it. They didn't give a shit. It was the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And she contacts, well, I want to meet face to face. I'm older. I just do business face to face. I'm like, okay, this is a great idea. Not. That's when back then, you remember, I was a little chunkier. I was probably about 220, 230 at the time. A little chunkier. So concealed carry was definitely a problem.
With the waistband, I get it.
Yeah. Just for reference, I'm now 178 as of this morning. A little small for my taste, but that just means I need to eat more protein with my weight.
Last time I saw you in person.
I appreciate that. I still need bigger muscles. But more testosterone, baby.
Yep.
But anyway, so I go out to Sumter. I did not want to drive out there. I drove out there and I meet her, and as soon as we step into the house, she sits down right next to her shotgun. And I'm like, okay, this is going to get interesting.
Yeah.
I really got to bring my negotiating skills to the table, because I really don't want to shoot a 60-something-year-old lady as soon as she grabs. And she had one bum arm. She couldn't lift the damn thing in the first place.
Right.
So it turned into, I want to say, like a 2-hour conversation.
Yeah.
And she gives me a tour of the house, and I'm like, why are you still living here? Because you're missing a floor over here in your son's room. You're missing a ceiling over here.
Yep.
I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, so I ended up making 2 other trips out to that house, I want to say.
Yeah.
Like the last one's to verify that it was vacant, but oh my God. And she just laid the subtle hints that she had no problem picking up that shotgun and giving me an extra hole to breathe out of.
Didn't she say at one point, I'm going to shoot you or shoot myself?
Yep. She did say that. And she said, she told the cops at one point, if there's ever a 911 call out to her house, just bring the body bags. And the cops verified that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, this lady is fucking nuts. One of the crazier people. Other than that, she's pretty cool. It would have been really interesting to go drinking.
Homicidal insanity. She's pretty cool.
Good God. She would have been a good drinking buddy. She definitely would have got, that would have been, the stories that would have came out of her mouth would have been interesting. But yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, we definitely want to do that one on a Zoom call with her not in the same room with me. So
yeah, right. But I mean, honestly, so, I mean, to backtrack a little bit, I mean, this is what got me into property management, like really got my company going. Because, when I moved down here, I had to sell everything because the property management company I had ran me out of business. So I wanted to do things differently. And my buddy got me into property management because I did not want to buy and sell houses. I already knew I didn't like that from wholesaling. So I started up the company, and then you reached out and asked with me if I'd just do evictions. So for a while there, I had that commercial building only and just did evictions, just to make ends meet. And it really spurred something. It was really kind of cool.
Well, and one of the things, if I can kind of speak for myself, is that eviction that we're talking about in Sumter. I mean, Sumter's 2 hours of driving from here, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yep.
and then you're there for 2 or 3 hours, and you need to eat while you're, here or there. You got to put gas in your truck, et cetera. And you send me a bill for like $102. And I called you and said, Rob, you can't work for $100 a day, because that pretty
Right.
much shot your whole day. So, well, I was home by about 3. I was like, yeah, but you're mentally, your day is shot. I mean, that was,
Yeah.
even though you have the car ride on the way back to kind of, get centered again. And so we had a conversation there, and we kind of came up with an eviction plan. I was like, if it's an easy one, it should be this kind of a package price.
Yep.
And if it's a really difficult one, it should be the package price plus expenses, and mostly just your time and your fuel. And I think some of it's a mental space too, because if I had had that experience, I would get back to the office and I wouldn't get anything done for the next 2 hours, because you have to kind of decompress.
There are days, or there had been days, where I'd go home and I'd be like, okay, that bottle of Maker's Mark is getting opened right now.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's ones that are super easy. Like I had a beautiful one that a mutual friend of ours, Patrick, had, and I was able to rehome this girl, and she rented from me for like 3 years.
Yep.
It was beautiful. I love those ones. Those ones come together really, really nice.
We've been kind of focused on the scary and the negative.
Yeah.
They're definitely feel good moments too.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, I got into this because I was almost a homeless veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fucking up so bad, and I'm really good at it, the fucking up part, that I had the foreclosure notice on my door, and my wife and my daughter and I were going to be out on the street. And by the way, she was pregnant at the time, and that's scary as hell.
Yeah.
I had one guy in West Michigan. This is where I found out about homeless veterans. I get a call, and he's in Grand Rapids. I had that property I got for $1.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we have a homeless veteran. I'm like, I didn't realize there were any. Oh yeah, there's 1,400 in Muskegon County. I'm like, why the hell are they homeless? I got angry. Well, he's living under a bridge right now, and he's like on a ventilator or on air machine or whatever. I'm like, get him into my house. Well, we have to go through the process. I said, I don't give a shit about your process. Get his ass into my house today, or I'm gonna find you.
Go pick him up.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I went and picked his ass up. My problem, like, this ain't happening. No. But that's why I'm in this business, for things like that.
Right. Well,
I can't stand the bureaucracy behind the shit. You can probably see I'm getting angry about it, because it's all wrapped up in
you're bowing, as we say in the South, you're bowing up.
Yep. I'm ready to punch somebody in the face, because these guys should not be homeless at all. Like, period. There's no goddamn excuse for this. And that just, I mean, it boils my blood. That's why I do this. And those stories are just, I had a lady in here the other day. She came up, and I worked with her because she's trying to move out, and the apartment complex wouldn't give her keys and all this other stuff. She gave me a huge hug, and she's like, I've never worked with somebody like you. And she handed me a $20 bill. And I'm like, I don't need your money. It's okay. She goes, no, please take this. And I was almost in tears.
Yeah.
And by the way, when I went to church Sunday, I put that one right in the offering basket. I was like,
well, it made
this
her
is where
feel
this
good
needs
to
to go.
give it to you.
Yeah. And it was just, those are the stories why we do this.
Yeah.
I've, through my time, almost every time I screwed up my company was because when I wasn't true to myself.
Yeah.
And which I just went through. I got sidetracked. I got bloated. I got stupid, and my company started suffering. And I know you've heard some of the stories from the other side of it, because we talked about it. But it's because I lost the sight. I lost the reason. I lost the why.
The why.
And
let's talk about the why.
Yeah.
Let's dig into the why. So
absolutely. So before, it's always, all of us with kids are going to say, I do it because of my kids. That's the most bullshit reason to give. I love my kids, and yes, I do it for them, and I know you do it for yours. But that's the most bullshit reason to give. That's not your only why. The why, that why goes deeper. I've already mentioned the homeless vets and everything else. And Justin Colby. I became friends with Justin through the Boardroom Mastermind, and he had something that really, really rocked me on his Instagram. And for the longest time, what I would enjoy doing was I would enjoy calling my dad. because he didn't think I could do this. And I would love to tell him how good my company's doing. Even when my company's just stagnant. Hey, by the way, my company did this month. And it became like the most pettiest bullshit you can imagine. And Justin literally said something to the effect of, I used to do this to prove myself to everybody else, but I've never proven it to myself. I never felt myself worthy because, I know I haven't, because of that argument with my mom right before she died. I always thought I was the biggest piece of shit in the world. Hated myself for the longest time. And finally I heard that and it just clicked. And this was only about a month ago. And I'm like, why am I not proving to myself that I'm worth what I'm doing?
Well, I love that, Rob.
Nobody does.
Brian, tag that. That's a gold nugget. That's the goldest of golden nuggets right there, is to do it for you.
Yeah. And you're worth it. Nobody proves it to themselves. Wow. I am the biggest giver. I will give the shirt off my own back. And when I don't have anything left to give, I'm going to find a way to give more. I had a friend whose car got repoed and I'm broke, but I found a way to find money for that person to get their vehicle back.
Yep.
I had another friend that went to visit her family and she couldn't make it back and she needed to get back to work. So I sent her gas money. I'm like, here you go. I don't expect it back, but at the same time, I'm always giving. I never give to myself.
Right.
So
there's an old, if you think about it, when you fly on an airliner, they do the safety, the seatbelt and if the cabin loses pressure and the mask drops, what's the first thing you do? You're
supposed to put it on yourself first,
you
then
put
help
your own mask on first, then you help others.
Yep.
Because if you don't, and you're passed out, you can't help anybody. So put your own mask on first and take care of you.
Yep.
And then you can take care of other people. So I think that's a key point.
Yeah. My pastor up north in Michigan, the one I used to play guitar for, he and I were talking, because it was back when I was losing companies and trying to get out of the drug addiction and everything else.
Right.
And losing the house or almost losing the house. We never had enough food for all of us to eat. I'd cook up dinner for Jackie and Shannon, my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I'd let them eat and I'd go over to my buddy's house to have dinner because there was enough food for me. And my pastor's like, no. He goes, I don't care how small of a plate you've got to get yourself. You get yourself that plate and you eat first.
Yeah.
Let them have the majority of it, but you eat first.
Right.
And that lesson kind of came back to me when I heard Justin talk about it. So now, that plays in more to the change of the why, because now I'm actually taking time to relearn my guitar. Not relearn it, but get back to where I was and starting to play out more things I enjoy doing. God, I'm going fishing with my daughter. My daughter just went off to college. Now she's only at Charleston Southern, so she's not far away. Thank God. It's enough of a heartbreak. She's not living with me anymore. But she's like, Dad, let's not go to church on Sunday. We're going fishing.
Oh, I love it.
I'm like, sign me up. I'm going. So, those times are so precious. So let me share with you another thing that just happened not very long ago. I had a set of clients that were, very taxing, very, very, very taxing. And I'm actually learning to let clients that are very taxing go.
Yes.
Now there's a balance to it because you don't want to crash your company,
right.
But I almost passed out from my blood pressure getting so high. Now I went in for an MRI on my shoulder. I've always had shoulder problems. So thank God that they're giving me a steroid shot so I can actually get back up to, 315-pound bench press on a regular, until I have to have shoulder surgery because I'm an idiot. But anyway, I'm at the VA and the nurse comes up to me, like my doctor, my main doctor's nurse is down in the area. She stops and talks to me and she stops for a second. She grabs my wrist, takes my blood pressure right then and there. She looks at me just like my mom would. She goes, "Get in my office now." I'm like, "Oh, shit." They wouldn't let me leave. They had to give me a shot and they wouldn't let me leave. She goes, "I don't know how you didn't have a stroke."
Oh my
She
God.
goes, your blood pressure was so high that you were over the line for a stroke.
Wow.
She goes, whatever you're doing, you need to stop. And now I'm not taking my blood pressure meds like I should be, everything else, and drinking Black Rifle freaking
I see the energy drinks.
or First Form. Gotta love my First Form. I buy so much First Form, they send me free shirts. That's actually how I pay Danielle, by the way. I just buy First Form. But anyway, but no, that it was a huge help. I'm 46. You know, that shit shouldn't be happening. And it was a bad enough scare that I'm like, what if I don't get to walk my daughter down the aisle?
Yep.
You know, my son, he's not even in high school yet. I'm about to miss out on the best years if I don't start taking care of myself. So, it's kind of retooling life. The money part's important because the money is the tool to get you through life.
Right.
It's not the end all be all. When my doctor asked me what I wanted out of my life, I said, I want to live till I'm 95 so I get to see my great grandkids and play with them, God willing, and then die peacefully in my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to quite make 100 because that's when shit really starts to hurt. I mean, I've already got arthritis in the back from the military, and stuff like that. And it's like, and it's funny because I was actually looking at the company. I'm like, in property management, you don't make a whole lot of there's a whole lot of overhead without a whole lot of income.
Right.
And you hit certain levels. So when I was at 120 doors, let's say, I was doing pretty damn good. I had cash. Well, then what's the next thing you get that takes all your money?
The plateau.
Employees.
Yeah.
So, all of a sudden, next thing you know, we're at 200 doors, then 300 doors. And it's like, okay, now I've got this big office. We're actually going to downscale the office next month because we don't need this big office. We're going to work virtually. We're going to have one small office, cut my rent by 3/4. The phone bill goes down. All these bills go down. There's no point to it. But I mean, you got to look at it like, okay, what's the longevity plan? And it's not just for the company, because if you're not around, what's the point?
Right.
What are you doing this for?
Yeah, that's why you have to take care of yourself first.
Yeah. And
in reference to the growth, we went to a Grant Cardone, Brandon Dawson training, like high level. We're talking about those plateaus, and what you're describing, whether it's hundreds of thousands or millions of tens of millions, is at each plateau your profit drops for a while.
Yeah.
And then you have to get back up to level, because when you go to that next level, your profit goes down, and then you have to get it up, and then you ratchet up and ratchet up. But a lot of times we don't expect that. I mean, I didn't expect it in my business. Like, well, I'm going to hire some people and I'm going to make even more. And then one day it's like, I'm actually making less.
Yeah.
But that's the next plateau.
I literally cut my pay to have another employee. And there's another component to that though, because we get complacent. Things are good. You saw how fast my company grew.
Yeah.
You get comfortable. You think you're really good. I know some people love Donald Trump. Some people hate him. I love a lot of the stuff he writes in his books. Plus I love his humor. I think the dude is like the ultimate troll.
No politics or religion, dude.
No. But in one of his books, he talks about thinking he had the Midas touch.
Yeah.
And then he said that's exactly how he lost almost everything.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s. Yeah. He thought he had the Midas touch. He lost touch with reality. Yeah. So you stop losing that drive and that hustle, and shit just spirals.
He went to a bar, refused to shine, didn't buy no beer, and said, I tell you what, my name is Russ, and I'm on the mic, so listen to my podcast show. Russ might say a thing or two that you don't want to hear. Tell you what he's thinking, share some good ideas. He's got some rowdy friends, he's gonna have them on the that money grow. His name is Russ. He's got the microphone.